Hey, if you're going to do an intro, how about you unmute yourself there, big boy?
I fucked up even before that, but it doesn't matter anyway.
This is timeless. It is the era of the silent film. You had us mute ourselves over there, and you forget to unmute yourself.
Oh, God, it's always me. It's always something. But anyway, hello, everybody. And I am your host, Jimmy T, and welcome to the Soul Attack. I mean, no, the Smack Attack. Don't you worry. We don't take any souls or attack your souls, but I am your host, Jimmy T. That is my co-host, Richard Bronson Vickery, a.k.a. RBV. And Rick, it's a Soul Attack on the Smack Attack after watching SmackDown.
Jimmy, oi, oi, oi. Hey, I mean, Army, great to be back here in the OHIO, the greatest state in the greatest nation of them all. Hey, the sun is shining bright. RBV's feeling all right. Back again to talk a little blue brand Smack Attack, baby. This is where it's at. How to get your weekend fired up, brother. Man, I was into this episode. We're gonna get there. We got some headlines to run down, man. But the dawning of a new era, the Road Dogg era, man, he had me ready to go, man. I wanted to buy in here, man. So stick around for that. I'm excited to talk about it.
Well, actually, Rick, did it feel like a bit of a reset of SmackDown for you? Because I felt like that's what we got sort of last night.
Not necessarily. And I'm one of those, when there is a passing of the guard, when you're changing maybe creative direction, management, I've never been a big fan of like those big hard resets. Remember back in WCW when Russo and Bischoff, they were coming together and they just stripped everybody of titles, did a hard reset. To me, it's a little lazy. And I'm not knocking those guys on it because, I mean, WCW was in such a bad place at that time. They just had to clean the slate and start fresh. But to me, you want to be able to use that creative mind to make a transition, to make things seem kind of fluent together. But we'll get into all that. I know we've got some hey, the chat filling up. I want to give a shout out to Chris Winland. Kind words, praise for me there, man. Early on in the morning.
Yeah, this Chris about this.
I appreciate it. We got Lab Rat over there. My man, Dan Happening. Dan, my man, Happening. He actually, man, I want to give a shout out there. He sent me over a cool-ass track that I'm going to be using for some intro music on a new project I am working on with John Paz from the Two Man Power Trip. And I'm actually going to use that same track on my Edgewater Race Report podcast that I'll be filming later on this afternoon. So thank you very much for that awesome soundtrack that I'll be using for the intro on a few of my podcasts. And
also, I just want to thank everyone for joining us. And I do want to mention we are live on the HMG YouTube channel. And, of course, on the Twitch also and on channelattitude.com after the fact. $5 is all it is. And, Dan is the man when it comes to actually making music. And, I make different type of music, you know what I mean? Because, I do the stuff digitally. But he's the man on the guitar, man. That's for sure. He goes hard on it. And I want to hear, Dan, your... weren't you saying you were doing a cover of the Demolition thing?
He did Demolition, and he has that available over on his Twitter. Dave, you can let me know your...
I can't see it, so...
Oh, yeah.
Send it to me, please.
You can't get into Twitter. You're still locked out over there. If you shoot your Twitter handle, Dan, I'll give it a shout-out. But, yeah, he goes through and he kind of lays out each of the different kinds of cuts or chords. Well, I don't know all the terminology there. That's over my head. But, yeah, he's got a nice little video up there. It has the Hameen Media Group tagged in that, so you can check out over on the X, baby. Throw up that X.
Throw up that X, except Elon, eat a dick. All right, just saying.
You don't like the Chainsaw Massacre there, baby?
Not exactly, but anyway, that's for another show, another story. But let's get into the news, shall we, Rick? And as a matter of fact,
yeah, let's read all about it. What headlines you got for us? I know we have had some big happenings here in the world of professional wrestling. You and MSG sat down yesterday. You got the call, the bat signal to do the run in there for the Friday locker room. I mean, he forgot to tell all of us that he was going to Vegas. None of us were aware of this. So Big Daddy Ben spending those big dollars out there. He had a nice little jackpot that he shared.
Oh, he did?
Yeah. So I
Nice.
don't want to divulge all that. Hey, but hey, we'll take them super chats. We'll send them right over to Ben. And we'll see if we can bang out another big winner. We can get some upgrades around here.
Oh, absolutely, man. And
I mean, we're not talking that Pat McAfee money, but it was a nice little payday for him.
Hey, we'll put it this way. I mean, oh yeah. Well, did he get a few thousand at least?
Not that high.
Oh, damn. Oh, well, still. But in saying that, let's get to a rumor killer, shall we? Because there's been a lot of rumors, Rick, that I don't know where this is coming from, but apparently that TKO wants to purchase Lucha Underground. Now, I don't know if you've heard about this, but apparently Fightful's Sean Ross Sapp confirmed earlier today on Twitter that a report claiming to be from him about TKO Group, purchasing Lucha. Well, I was going to keep reading. Purchasing Lucha Underground and having plans to revive the former promotion are not true now, apparently, Rick. This rumor originated from a bogus Twitter account, bullshit, that has been impersonating Wrestle Votes called Wessel Votes. And when I say Wessel, I'm talking about WESTLE, who claimed that TKO had brought the rights to Lucha Underground and have had an early talks to revive it under WWE's umbrella. In response to a fan question on Twitter, Sapp stated that the report is completely fake and he was going to start reporting social media accounts that spread bogus news attributed to him and, of course, Fightful. Rick, do you smell a rat over here or is this legit? Do you think there's been a lot of fakers out there, putting out fake news?
Well, it does seem that Mr. Sapp there and the Fightful site, they have been called to task here quite a bit in the last couple of days with some questionable reporting. In Sapp last week, in response to somebody laid out his complete list of how he double checks everything and confirms with his sources and all of that. I did happen to see the headline itself. I didn't pay much attention to it. I know that Lucha Underground had a great, very niche following. One of the, not a huge audience, but it was a very unique show. And as we regularly, we've been talking here since I've been joining you on the Smack Attack the last couple of weeks. Ben and I regularly talk about it in the Monday locker room. Ben's laid out just some tremendous strategies that could be employed inside of professional wrestling to modernize, upgrade, improve the presentation of the product. And it was something that was so unique about Underground because it was completely different than everything else that we had seen. And, maybe going back when it was airing, maybe ahead of the curve that we weren't really ready for.
Yeah, definitely.
But it was something special. But inside of that, one of the reasons that it was canceled, correct me if I'm wrong here, was the intense financial responsibilities that went into producing the show.
Well, they treated it more like a television show. And when I say that, it was more like a movie per se. You know what I mean? They literally needed directors, and all sorts of shit just to get shit done right. But that was the cool thing about Lucha Underground. The cool thing about that, they didn't sugarcoat who and what they were. And because they told you straight, this is what we are, this is what we're doing. Hopefully you like it. And that's why I dug it, because they were straight out with everybody. And it was very good television, man, at the time. It's a shame that it doesn't exist now, even though MLW have tried to so-called revive it, which is nowhere near any sort of revival that Lucha Underground was, man. It's a fake version.
I didn't see a whole lot of the MLW, Major League Wrestling, their version of it there, but it does seem like it was one of those things where you can't really blur the lines between a regular wrestling presentation and what Lucha Underground, what it stood for. And in my mind, and I'm not of that caliber, not that level to be the one, to have that background in the theater, in film, to merge those worlds. So, it's going to take someone like a Hameen that has that tremendous background. But, I envision something where pro wrestling should look something like love it or hate it. There's some quality to take from it, like the Heels program.
Yeah, I don't mind Heels, but I got sick of it a bit quick. But still, I know what you're saying.
But, just where we get those cinema cuts to see things in the real world. One of my biggest pet peeves with professional wrestling is we live inside of this bubble where everything just happens in that 2 or 3 hour block when we're watching it on television. Like, once they leave that arena, all of this hate towards, your rival or your build towards a match or your focus, your intensity on making a main event to become a champion, like that goes away. I think we could see some things and do some filming that shows us into their lives through the week. You know, that this is a lifestyle to them, you know, full commitment. And I think in that you start playing into social media, you get all those gears kind of touching, turning, all of those different story arcs, and you could create something special with it. Now, back to the original point, you know, putting over the style of Lucha Underground, WWE buying it. If it was true, TKO purchasing the rights to it would be absolutely incredible. It's a great piece of wrestling history and programming to hold on to be able to financially capitalize on whatever avenue you decide to go with it down the road. To recreate it, that might be a bit suspect. You'd have to completely go outside of the bubble of what we currently see with WWE. So maybe TKO inside of that purchases and hands it over to a movie studio. You know, maybe this isn't something that falls under the umbrella of WWE. If it would happen to be true, it would be interesting. But again, with WWE's current drive to, I don't want to see just like capitalize, but control all of professional wrestling. I mean, you look what we got going on here, the partnership with TNA. We don't know really where that's going to go down the road. They've got Evolve, all the libraries that they've already purchased from the territories. They own all of those. They own pretty much the history of professional wrestling. We have
absolutely do.
We have the ID program now. You know,
with belts
that they're pretty much going to event if it goes the direction that we think it's going to go. They're going to gobble up all the top talents on the independent scene, which is going to cut off lifelines of people going like to the NWA, the National Wrestling Alliance.
Absolutely will. That's going to be a big problem.
MLW, going to All Elite Wrestling, all of that. So it could just be one of those tactics.
Absolutely. And the artist wants to know, and thank you for joining us, by the way. The artist returns back.
I'm pretty sure that MLW is still their own entity.
Yeah, absolutely. As a matter of fact, the guy that owns MLW, Court Bauer, used to work for WWE and absolutely despises WWE artists. So just so you know, there's no way in hell, according to him. Actually, he sued WWE recently and they settled out of court, but the amount wasn't disclosed publicly. But that was a true story. But as far as WWE,
I don't know anything about Court's funding. His sponsorship, his financial backing, what he's got there. But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it isn't too long before they come knocking. And if the price is right, everything is always for sale.
Everybody has a price.
Yeah.
Just saying. Also, I want to touch on, which is kind of interesting here, Rick, because apparently Carmella's contract with WWE has expired and departed from the company. That's news to me, and I find that interesting because, look what's happened to Corey Graves, for example, Rick, and now they didn't even re-sign Carmella and they just let her, contract expire. Do you think there's something to this? Are they fucking with Graves, or is this just like, what are we going to do with Carmella anyway?
I think of anything that what we saw, a little of the backlash, speaking up, anger, frustration, if you will, from Graves. He knew this was coming. There was something. If they were going to re-sign her, they would have had this on the books, months ago. They were riding this thing out. They weren't going to add it to the recent cuts. Why make a bigger deal about it than you necessarily need to? I'm sorry. Is anybody out there right now? We got the chat over there. Let us know. When was the last time you and your friends been talking about, or even here in the chat on the HMG podcast? Has any of us, like, whoa, damn, when's the countdown? We're checking our watches to the clock, the countdown to the return of Carmella.
I've been waiting for it, damn it. No, I'm joking.
And you look at the women that are signed, the women that are coming up to the main roster. Where is there a spot for her? Yeah, I'm not trying to bash her in any way. She had a great little run there when she won the Money in the Bank. She did the double cash in. She had an entertaining program there with Ellsworth. It was over. She had her little run there at the top, served her purpose, recycled out. Thanks for coming. It's someone else's turn to step up to that plate. I don't know where she would fit in to the current landscape. And as we're also hearing, and he's been kind of called to task on this, going back to Sean Rassap, about some disgruntled women inside of the main roster division, then about characters, about storytelling, and about television time. more particularly in comparison to what we see with the NXT brand, where the women, and a lot of them, are sprinkled in and out all over that show. Now Jimmy has frozen. Well, we have silenced him down under there, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, we're talking about Carmella. Her contract will not be renewed. She has been on paternity leave here for quite a bit, as her and Corey Graves recently had a little baby there. Not sure boy or girl. Congratulations to them on that. But it has announced that they will not be re-signing Carmella. It is funny, though, because in the last couple weeks, I would say maybe a month or so ago, I saw a report where she did an interview spot with one of the bigger podcasts, and had mentioned she cannot wait to get back into a WWE ring, and she was looking forward to a return and looking forward to see what creative could come up with for her. To me, again, not a big surprise here. Breaking news that they're not going to be renewing her contract. We look at the landscape. You look at the talents inside of the company right now, very young. A lot of hungry young talents that want that spotlight, that want to be on that rise, looking to find their spot on that main roster. They're trying to brace it. And also this past week, we have heard, and this was coming out of Fightful, I believe, were the ones that broke this, recently called the task on the accuracy of this report. And when Jimmy gets back here, we'll talk about this. But a lot of the women on the main roster not so happy with their creative direction, the TV time for their characters, particularly in comparison to what you get with NXT. Scotty Woodford, our boy, joined us last week. Thank you for that, asking, how is Corey feeling about this? Again, I think the writing was on the wall. I think that Corey Graves knew about this going back a couple of weeks, and which kind of, might have been the true source of his anger and frustrations that were taken out on social media, and then ultimately seeing him going back to NXT as they shifted the broadcast teams. They did that little shuffle once the move to the Raw to Netflix and SmackDown to the USA Network. Corey Graves has put in years and years of service. Though at one time, a great dream to be an in-ring performer. They wanted to shine, in that main event at WrestleMania. Unfortunately, had that coach work, but hey, took the alternative route, gave his all, became a damn fine color man, and what he brings. He did a little play-by-play there as well, but has really found his niche there in that color spot. Now lending his voice, his expertise to the NXT brand. I think they knew this. This was coming. We'll see. He had dad happening. Carmella was fine, but her character was like Chelsea Green, but not as funny or as entertaining. But she was more entertaining than some of the other women. I think there's some truth there in what you're saying, Dan. She had that great run there, again, as I mentioned, when she was a 2-time in 1 year Miss Money in the Bank winner. Her and Ellsworth had some great chemistry there. And the character is very similar to Chelsea Green. I'm not saying that you can't have similar characters, especially when you've got all these different brands that aren't really crossing over with each other. But they are that roster for the women's through development, NXT. What we're not even seeing from the Performance Center. Now we've got the Evolve program coming out. We got the ID up to the main roster. A lot of younger, hungry talent looking for those spots. And this might just be a case of, they've got younger versions of her that maybe are more talented athletically inside of the ring, what they're looking for. I do think that Carmella had, she offered a lot in the means of her character work, what she contributed in that time. It's good, not a knock on her, but no surprise that they are not bringing her back. Hey, I will tell you this, though. I don't think Carmella's going to be out there by any means hurting for employment. She's going to land on her feet fine. I'm sure there's a lot of things that her talents can afford for her if she has to work. That's the case. She could just be a stay-at-home mom, taking care of the little one. Like Corey's continuing to do his thing with WWE. And I do believe that if Corey was one of those that would be released by WWE, it's safe to say, even though they seem to be kind of pulling back on just throwing out those big contracts, bringing everybody in, what we've seen from TK, Tony Khan, over at AEW, Corey Graves would be a safe signing. I think he would add a lot to the style that we get presented from AEW through the color and be a great addition on one of their programs inside of the people. Although they've got a lot in the means of commentary, so they might be looking to shake some things up there at AEW, and I think Graves would land on his feet there, be a nice little addition. But back to my point, Carmella, where she will not be finding employment here. I want to get your guys' opinion on this in the chat, and that is going to be at Hooters, baby. Yes, Hooters, the famous restaurant chain. I think, man, they've been around. Somebody wants to look this up for me, but I know at least since the 80s when Hooters came on the scene. They might have been around since the 70s. Of course, Hooters, famously known around the world for their wings, right? Yeah, that's what everybody knows from those Hooters for, their wings. But they are filing bankruptcy. So it looks like the Hooters chains will be slowly but surely disappearing. Yeah, right. The artist returned, smash my head. Hooters going under. What is the world coming to? There's multiple reasons that I'm seeing this here. Hey, back in the late 90s, early 2000s, me and my buds, especially running the big softball circuit, we're out at tournaments each and every week. Where we're going between games, man. We'd find a local Hooters, hit that up. For me, right now, where it's at, the high-class Hooters, if you will, better-looking girls, awesome food, some of the best grub, TV, you can catch all the games there, is the Twin Peaks chain. That's where it's at for me, man. I think all that classier clientele and the classier women went to Twin Peaks, a great place. And my nephews, 7 and 10 years old, they love going to some Twin Peaks. But Hooters, sadly, looks like they're going to be disappearing. And you look at an entire. It's good to say Jimmy T. I don't know what he's up to here. He hasn't sent me a message or DM'd me, so hopefully here's what he's probably doing, because this is what regularly happens. He's got to do a reboot and an upgrade. So it regularly happens. Look who it is. But anyway,
dude, no, my power went out literally.
Some damn kangaroos, bro.
What the fuck, man? Fuck it. Man, I told you it's hot, right? And it's starting to thunder. And it just, I don't know, man. It just.
All right. Well, you came back in a perfect time to run back in. We have shifted. We were talking about Carmella, and where she will not be finding employment is that the Hooters chains filed for bankruptcy, and they would go. You got Hooters down under?
Yeah, we absolutely.
Yeah, I mean Hooters, a global chain. Yeah, they're going to be disappearing. So.
Actually, that reminds me, because I was reading an article recently about all the Hooters shutting down here, and I thought it was just here, but I guess
that's everywhere. Not. Yeah, that is worldwide. The Hooters are going away, so unfortunately that will not be an employment opportunity for Carmella, but we do wish her the best. Jimmy T, all knows headlines, baby. What else do we got?
Are you saying that Mella's not money?
The who?
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Are you saying... You get the joke, right? Because
yes,
apparently she's money, but clearly she's not.
No,
at all. Well,
we covered all that. Where are we at on news?
Let me get back to it, because I have to obviously load up the page again. But as far as the news goes and what else is next, apparently Rick Steiner's son has signed with WWE. A new contract with WWE. What's a new contract again?
A new so we're talking about Braun?
NIL.
A nil. Okay, contract. So you are talking about not Rick Steiner's son, Braun. You're talking about Steiner's son.
Scott Steiner's son. Sorry, not Braun.
Yeah, his son's over. His son is I can't remember where, college football. This kid is a dead ringer for his dad, an absolute genetic freak. He looks incredible. Absolutely bound for professional wrestling. Actually, I saw an ESPN spot where after one of the games, a reporter had his son and Scotty there. And it was funny. He said, well, give us some tips out there. What does it take to become a multi-time champion and WWE Hall of Famer? And Scotty he did the flex on there. And he's like, you got to be a genetic freak like me. And they asked at that time if his son was going to be following in the family footsteps. And the answer was an astounding, oh, hell yeah. So he's ready to go. So the nil, you got WWE calls it next in line, but for college football, it's name, image, and likeness, which allows the players to actually gain financially through their efforts in the college program.
All right, cool. That's pretty good. I'm actually looking forward to Scott Steiner's kid actually getting into professional wrestling because he's a dead ringer, like you said. He's a chip off the old block. He pretty much looks exactly like Scott, and he's in good shape too, man.
Oh, phenomenal. Again, it's just a genetic freak like his dad. It's going to be very cool to see eventually, when he comes into maybe just follow that same blueprint as we saw Rick finding great success in professional wrestling as Braun is. And then, the younger brother at this time, the younger cousin's going to be coming along and see a new formation of a modern day Steiner cousins.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Or would it be the Breaker cousins? Or, I mean, are they going to... They acknowledge the family relationships, what we'll see in the names that we get.
If they call them the Breakers, god damn it, dude. Seriously. Imagine they do that. I mean, I would call them just the Steiners. Since they are cousins and they're both Steiners, just call them the Steiners. No need to be called brothers, I guess. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we'll see here. Maybe the Ball Breakers. Who knows?
Ah, that's even better. But I want to ask for your opinion on this, though, Rick. Well, how do you feel about the news that apparently, allegedly, and this is according to our very own Vince Russo at channelattitude.com, of course, and Jonathan Coachman on the Bro and what was it? The Bro and Coach podcast that they both host. Now, the coach allegedly has inside, word that that TK has ghosted Shane McMahon. Do you believe any of it? Do you think it's true? And if so, does it surprise you?
I know you guys talked about this yesterday, so it's right here on the YouTube channel. You catch your guys' take in that conversation about that. Be sure to check that out. Give it a big thumbs up and share.
Now, by the way,
and share that as well. But no, the clip is right here on our YouTube page as well. That MSG posted that this morning, so you get their guys' take on it. So a little RBV insight into this thing. Absolutely not surprised by this at all. But to me, what would you expect from Shane going in there?
Me too. I mean, honestly, would you trust him if you were TK?
Well, all right. So there's multiple parts to this thing. Going back to the meeting, supposedly this thing was set up, but by Sasha Banks. They were going to be Tony Khan and Shane McMahon were going to be in passing, so that's why we had this meeting at one of the airports. With the Atlanta airport, not really important where it is, but so they have a brief meeting. The photo leaks. The rumor was the individual that took the crappy selfie or whatever photo from the cell phone was Sasha herself. It was right when she was coming into the company. But this really reminds me. All right, so here's how I see this going down from both perspectives. Sure, on the surface, there is a little interest. You get that itch inside professional wrestling. I have numerous conversations myself with other local independent promoters. If I can come in to help, with my expertise to help them grow their brand there. So there's always these sorts of interactions, these conversations happening. From Tony Khan's side of this, his perspective, yes, let's take this meeting. Let's see if there's any sort of interest in Shane actually coming aboard here but further than that, I think Tony is there taking this meeting to maybe feed his ego, to get a big pat on the back. Hey, you're doing a great job. You are great for professional wrestling. He feeds off of that. He is hungry for that kind of attention. And who better to spoon feed you that in your mind than a McMahon? The son of the mastermind, for better or worse, whatever you think of him personally, created modern day wrestling in Vince, What an ego stroke that is. From Shane McMahon's side of this, take the meeting. You might not have really any interest in going to AEW, to helping out All Elite Wrestling. But hey, let's throw it out there. Let's throw everything against the wall and see if this SOB bites. This reminds me a lot of going back to the stories when we heard when Heyman had talks with TNA Wrestling and said, I'll do this, but I want total control.
Right, exactly.
I want the book. I want the talent. I want the budget. everything. I need to have my finger on every button. What you do in that situation is, at least as if you're Heyman or Shane here, you tried. Hey, I wanted to come in and help. You know you are setting the expectations. You're setting your price so high there is no way they're going to bite. So when the deal doesn't work out, it's on the company. At that point with Paul, it's on Dixie that didn't pull the trigger. Now it's on Tony who didn't pull the trigger to get the help from Shane.
Absolutely, spot on, man. I just want to also welcome, I haven't seen him in a while, but Joe Moran.
Yeah, I was going to say, a little shout out there to Joe, the tech guy over there. Check out his blog, all sorts of cool stuff. Always going on from our good friend Joe.
And the artist says, thank you for your service, but nah, we good, fam. And he's referring to, obviously, Shane McNuggets. But you know what? I think that pretty much covers everything. Actually, there's one more piece of news, and it is about what we kind of spoke about off the air, as a matter of fact, Rick. But apparently, backstage, growing frustrations within WWE Women's Division over booking issues, and apparently Vince McMahon's wacky idea for 2022's Women's Royal Rumble match. So, according to who is talking about this, doesn't really, it's Sean Ross Sapp, of course. But apparently the WWE Women's Locker Room reportedly has been growing frustrated over the issues with the booking of the main roster and the women's division in the company, according to Fightful. Sean Ross Sapp reported in a recent episode of Fightful's The Hump that these issues regarding concerns and frustrations about women's booking in WWE are not something new, but the current frustrations are not as severe as it was under Vince McMahon's leadership during the Royal Rumble in 2022. Sapp reported that many female talents spoken to within WWE have expressed their frustrations about the booking of women in the company. One female talent spoken to reportedly had asked him if he could find out if she was listed internally as a heel or a babyface due to the lack of information she was getting for her alignment status within the company. Sapp also reported that several pitches for WrestleMania 40 plans have been rejected by female talent who have been pushing for meaningful storylines instead of being thrown into token tag matches for the event. Those spoken to reportedly want things to be put on a more even plane in the women's division and in regards to its booking compared to how the men's booking is treated in the company. Sapp also brought up Natalya as an example of someone the company had recently signed to a new deal to keep her in the company and had creative plans for her, only to not do anything with her since. Do you believe in that? I mean, what's there to be really frustrated about? Well, because some women aren't getting what they want? I mean...
Well, first and foremost, I do believe there is a big miss by not utilizing Natalya more. Such a tremendous hand. There's especially with
great hand, definitely.
Especially with such a young roster right now. She is someone you could go out there to start helping make these younger girls to get out there to show them how to handle themselves. Just with their in-ring work, promo, whatever the case might be. There's such a tremendous value in what she brings to the table. But also in that same breath, if you had to I don't want to say knock, but where she isn't as focused, and it seems to be an issue across the board with so many of them in the women's division. I would start with something very simple. If you want more time, you want more serious focus on your characters, on your storylines, on your builds, then you, inside of yourself, spend more time honing your craft and not creating TikTok videos. How many times do we see this regularly, immediately following shows? That we're supposed to be invested in the storyline, that we go right to social media and you're lip syncing to something and having dance parties.
100%. It annoys me.
Drove me absolutely insane. We want to take these divisions seriously. Okay, last week on SmackDown, we talk about it here on the Smack Attack. We have a very, very, not just angry, not just furious, but flat out pissed off Bianca Belair and Naomi when we see footage surface of the potential assailants of their good friend, their tag team partner, Jade Cargill. We're talking about Liv Morgan and Rodriguez.
Raquel. Yep.
Raquel Rodriguez. What do? They vow revenge. They are going to Raw. They're going to throw down. Where in the hell between Friday and Monday you want blood? You want answers. You're going to take them to task. But hold on. Let's stop off. Let's go to the design people for our apparel, our ring attire, and let's become cosplay cheerleaders from some movie.
Dude.
But it's the artist returns, but RBV, that wouldn't make a difference. They're trying to get more casual women onto the brand. The only way to change it is the booking, period. Is it? I think this is a huge issue just outside of professional wrestling. We're looking at this thing. The WNBA has a major problem right now getting more people drawn towards their audience. They have made tremendous strides last year with Caitlin Clark. We saw a boom, upward swing in their viewership, their merchandise sales, ticket sales across the board. But they're still not hitting on all cylinders because one of their issues there's a few inside of it. But how do you stand out differently? Does it continue to stand out differently as the WNBA from the NBA? When you compare those two products, still the NBA is superior. There is a great deal of hype around the WNBA, of course, and people want to get on board. This is a great empowerment time for women's athletics. So much cool things going on there. Even for me, I'm so happy to see where my nieces, my sister, that now, that we're involved in sports and it's very cool to see women like that. And for my nephews to tell them, hey, pay attention to this. This is very cool that women are doing something like this. But in comparison, when you try to line them up side by side, the NBA still smokes the WNBA. Yeah, there's a lot of bad basketball. There's a lot of bad basketball that they're playing. So the same thing could be said with professional wrestling. Just for the women to be going out there, and just because the guys do it, it doesn't make it that it's going to get them over, that it's the right move to have the women do it. Just because there's a men's rumble, we don't necessarily need a women's rumble. Just because there's men's U.S. and Intercontinental Championships, we don't need those. When you are just mirroring them, you're getting a Tamu version of that product. The bigger issue lies in that remains nothing unique and special about the women's divisions.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. As a matter of fact, I mean, the artist has got a good point over here saying women's sport is very marginalized in the States, not just the States, dude, worldwide, just quietly. The sport that should be celebrated from women's standpoint is volleyball, missing untapped market. I've got a kid playing overseas to prove it. I don't know about volleyball. I think tennis is the sport for women, technically, that's pretty big, personally. That you could kind of say is on the men's level or very close to it. I think that's the only sport that's very close. And a lot of eyeballs on women, if you know what I mean. But everything else, it's not on the men's level at all.
No, I do agree, with the artists, and maybe there is a different perspective, globally how they're looking at those things, and that's something very interesting to me. And I spent a great time of looking at the WNBA, fascinated by their marketing strategies, what they've got going on. Not to keep talking about that, but one of the biggest issues inside of the WNBA is the cattiness in the league, or it seems the jealousy about who's getting the shine.
The cattiness, the meow meows.
Yeah, and maybe we're getting a little of that inside of professional wrestling as well. But in the show saying, there is a huge obstacle that big mountain to overcome, where the women were perceived as the piss break. But I don't think the fix to that is going out there and trying to duplicate everything the guys are doing. You need something special to stand out.
But how? What do you do if you're the women? I know we're not, I know this is a wrestling show and not a women's sports show, but still, this is an interesting conversation. How do you change the narrative? It's going to take many years to even get remotely close to men.
Yeah, and that is.
And they're screaming for equal pay in sports too, which is ridiculous.
Right, and that's that's people talking out their ass. That the pay isn't equal. It's because the revenues are not equal. The notoriety is not equal. Once you get there, once you get there, that's a whole new conversation. Now there are, and even I know here in the States, there's a big thing that still our women's national soccer team is still
Oh yeah, I know. All
doesn't
about
make as much as the men's. But when
Yeah,
you
they should shut up.
financially break that down, yes, our girls have way more success. They
Doesn't
won
matter, though.
championships, world championships, but they don't make as much still through the sponsorship programs. That's where that's coming from.
First of all, men's soccer is a lot more competitive than women's soccer. The best team, believe it or not, in women's soccer is the US, Australia, and like a couple of other countries, and everyone. And then there's everybody. It's your non-traditional soccer countries that are actually the best in soccer on the women's side. When it comes to the male side, it's that competitive. There's so many good countries that are good at it, including the US and Australia. We're both pretty decent at soccer, even though we don't follow it like the rest of the world does. You know what I mean? But really, we should, because we're pretty good. But in saying that, the women cannot be. I don't care what any of these women say. It's not being sexist. I'm not trying to be sexist. I'm just being real. They're not on a marketing level. They're nowhere near on the men's side of things. So they shouldn't be asking for extra pay because they don't actually work as much as the men do also with their schedules and whatnot in any professional sport.
I'd really look at here. I know you threw out the question. Okay, Rick, you're throwing these things out, but what's a fix? Where can we get to that next step with it? I think there is a reality. You look at the differences. We are spending so much focus in society, in sport, in entertainment, in professional wrestling with equality. And this might give you a little heat here, but hear me out. Equality is one of the most overused, misconstrued piece of shit terminology, ideology, items that we have going on in our society.
Yeah,
we're not equal.
No.
Sexes, races, and what I mean inside of that is we should celebrate our diversity. What makes us, as different as groups, as individuals, find out what your special qualities are and utilize those. So for me, like if I was hit with the task from a marketing standpoint here, RBV, we want to focus on getting our main roster's women's division over a little bit more here. I'm looking at the characters we're creating, one, to make them more relatable to everyday women.
And
having them run out with the same, I don't need female versions of the Celtic Warrior or what is happening, what in society mirror those individuals. I do think the CEO, the Sasha Banks character, potentially could have had something because you look at the hip hop artist. Problem is Monet, not Sasha. Monet is just the drizzling shits at what she is doing. It's just not working. But the idea there with that character, she's still over. People are still drawn to her, and it's still there. So with women, they are. I come in drag racing. Women dominate that sport. I call it.
Drag
because,
racing.
and you know why? Because there, it is hand-eye coordination. Scientifically proven, women have
It's a straight line, Rick.
Straight line when you're going, 200 miles
Quarter
per hour
mile,
for an 8
dude.
mile.
Quarter fucking mile.
But women do a great job with it, because they have a better hand-eye coordination, and there's other things that they're good at, So focus on, all right, different fashion lines, how they approach, talking the truth about being able to compete as a woman, just not as a competitor, and speak to those.
And we're built differently anyway. They just can never be on our level in every sense because we're just built differently. It is what it is. We're not trying to be sexist to any of the females that do listen to our shows. We're just stating the facts. It is what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So you go back. I hate that term when I hear it. It immediately turns me off when someone talks about equality. No, what you want in this world, what you want in your life is opportunity. You want a fair opportunity to go out there and, if it's here, live that American dream, live your best life.
Absolutely.
And we've dirtied up equality where, it just thinks when people talk about, I want equality, they usually mean they want to be a priority. you want opportunity in life. That's where this division should be focused.
100%. And I also want to touch on what Artist said. First of all, no way you eliminate offsides, Artist. Bro, are you alright? If you eliminated offsides in soccer, it'd be a joke. If you understand how the offside rule works, you have people just standing in one spot. It'll be dumb. Believe me when I tell you that. So please, no, let's not go there. Also, he says, true that, Jimmy T, and Cornette kind of harps on it when he talks about the women being flippy, when their bodies aren't really designed for it, like Tiffy's moonsault. I mean, he's got a point. You know what I mean? But
again, that's why just because you see the guys going out there and doing something doesn't mean you necessarily have to go do it.
Right. Exactly.
Now, and I know that might be a little easier said than done because I mean we've got the guys doing everything. You've got super heavyweights going out there doing the moonsault, and that's a bigger problem across the board in professional wrestling.
Absolutely,
is everybody's throwing everything against the wall. Get your shit in.
100%, man. Gross is in the house saying I'm ready for WrestleMania in New Orleans. Aren't you from Austin?
Yeah.
Just wondering.
Yeah, that's pretty close.
Just asking for a friend. But anyway, I'm sure you are pumped. But again, the artist also wants to say that a moonsault is a layout, not a landing, unless you know they are not catching you / designed to move. I mean, he's right. You know what I mean? But anyway, I'm amazed at how much this is interest everybody about what we're talking about. But maybe we'll touch on it in more detail further down the road. But you know what, Rick, that's the news for this week as far as professional wrestling goes. I think it's time we get into the SmackDown portion of the Smack Attack.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Here, let me damn it, I had this set here, but yeah, we will have a little bit more women's talk because what's funny is that you're talking about the women winning more of that airtime, and that is exactly what we got. It seemed, that there was much more of them that we've seen throughout this episode of SmackDown.
There was.
And
definitely.
I got them right here. Sorry for the delay there, everybody. It just kicked out on it. Yeah, so we're going to talk about those, some things that I thought, for the most part, I really enjoyed how the women were presented in this thing, but we'll get to the big glaring flaw. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to move into our SmackDown review here on the Smack Attack, and we're talking about New Orleans. But they were coming from the Big Easy. Didn't look like this was quite a sellout for WWE. A little bit short there at the Smoothie King Center, again in New Orleans, Louisiana. Of course, in
a hot crowd too, Rick.
Go ahead.
And it was a hot crowd too.
Oh, Jimmy, we lose that power again?
No, I'm here, man. Am I delayed?
Yeah, you just froze there for a minute. Yeah, you're back. You're
man.
back. You're back. You're good.
All right, cool. Go continue on though. Anyway, man, I told you the weather now is getting real freaky here, dude.
All right, so we got Lillian Garcia. She's going to be bringing the wrestlers to the ring this week, and Joe's back. The story's back with Wade Barrett on the play-by-play. We get things going here. Hey, I got to tell you, Jimmy, I love the open to this show. Love what we had going on. Short, sweet, to the point, not a 20-minute. Cody Rhodes coming out, pandering to the audience. We just get a promo. We get a video cut backstage. Nick Aldis breaking some rather bad news, disappointing news to the champ that Cody Rhodes will not be involved in tonight's tag team main event. But we are scheduled to see. We're going to get 2/3. Well, we actually going to get the entire involvement from last week's main event, but two of them are going to be teaming up. Damian Priest going to be teaming up with Braun Strowman to take on part of the bloodline here, Solo and Fatu, and a big heavy hitter haymaker, baby, super heavyweight main event there in tag team action. So again, so we're getting this advertised. What did this main event do for you, Jimmy? Were you excited that this was the announced showdown that we're going to get?
With the Rock you're talking about? The soul.
No,
the soul
we'll get to
Rock.
that. No, the main event that we had, the tag match. We got Damian
no,
Priest, Braun Strowman
cool
taking
with
on
it.
Solo and Fatu.
I'm cool with it, but I'm kind of over it at the same time because we're seeing a lot of interaction with these guys. But then again, in saying that, it's called continuity, right? I mean, continuing. I can't even say it right now, but it's storyline continuation. Basically, is what I'm trying to say, and that's what matters most. Unlike one company that doesn't tend to do that, this company does. I just can't stand Braun Strowman anymore at all. Like, I just don't like him as a person, from what I hear. You know, from personal friends, of course, of ours, and just in general, I just don't like the guy. But in saying that, it is a big meaty main event indeed, and you know, there's a lot of hype. Obviously, they're setting up somewhere, you know, something in particular moving forward. We won't touch on that till we get there, but sure, it's a decent main event, and I just want to say this SmackDown was a lot more entertaining than it has been over the last few weeks. That's for sure.
Yeah, and I think, coming out here, again, what have we been regularly talking about? A different presentation, jumping into some things. Tell us, give us something to get us hooked throughout this show. As you said, going off the air last week, we have some misfires, some physicalities there between the Samoans. A lot of questions left to be answered there. Now we're going to see them teaming up, taking on two big heavy hitters. Priest got his eye on that prize going into the chamber. Strowman, you throw out your personal opinions there. He is still a great focus point for WWE, as he is just that big SOB. He looks good for television. He looks the role that you got him in, and he's out there with some of those big dogs.
Absolutely.
Short and sweet here. We know what we've got. We know what we need to pay attention to. We've got a little bit of a hook. When we talk about hooks coming into the show, hey, it doesn't get much bigger than what we got advertised via social media yesterday, because The Rock finally coming back to the Big Easy, New Orleans. We've got him advertised. He's going to be showing up here later in the show. So we got a big heavy hitter main event tag team match, and The Rock. We've got tag team titles on the line. And of course, we're a week out from, we were 8 days out during the airing of SmackDown from the Elimination Chamber. A lot to hook you, a lot to bring you in. And if you happen to be an insider, this is pretty much the first or second. Just cut him loose, run for Road Dogg. Let's see what he's got. Hey, out of the gate, backstage promo. We got this thing hooked. I'm feeling it. D-O-double-G, I'm feeling you here, brother. Boom, we go right to in-ring action for another big advertised match. We got what is Drew? What's his? We Celtic Warrior Sheamus. What's Drew? The Psycho Scott or
the psychopath Scott or some shit.
Yes. Okay. So Drew McIntyre makes his way to the ring, and of course he's got. I was trying to come up with this, man. He's got Big Jimmy. You're our Big Jimmy, but he's got Big Jim.
I am the real deal, Big Jimmy.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Not friggin' this guy, but nevertheless, is it Big Jim Uso? Is it
Big Jim
Uso?
Big Jim coming out from the Northern Hemisphere. Big Jim
from the Northern Hemisphere.
You're Southern Big Jim. We got Northern Big Jim
laugh.
taking on Drew McIntyre to kick things off. So we are going. And as Gross was saying over in the chat there, always a great crowd in New Orleans. We're keeping them hot. We got a short open. We're going right into the opening match. The only thing I would have suggested here, I would have loved to have seen this because he is an absolute heat magnet, and I would have loved to have seen the smirk on his face when he hit the audience. I would have started when we cut to the arena with the Rock music. If you smell, and that place erupts, and then I'd wait a short pause and hit Drew's music and have him come out.
Like tease it a little
with
bit.
That smirk, like I got you, because that is just going to intensify. We talk about atomic heat.
That would have been atomic
heat to have Drew. I got you. Then we proceed to the match. We get Jimmy with his little thing to is Drew going to win the chamber? Is Drew going to go to WrestleMania? The same answer, no yeet. Yeah, I like what they do with the Usos on that, getting that crowd hyped.
That's a good take now, actually. I'm glad he's figured that part out because a lot of people were saying, oh, what's he doing? No yeet, blah, blah, blah. But actually, he's using it to his advantage now in a good way, which I'm actually enjoying, Rick. I agree with you on that.
Yeah, I thought I had one handy here.
What?
But Russ was saying if Jimmy Uso was thinking,
Oh,
he would
Slim Jim.
market himself as Slim Jim.
That's true, though. Wouldn't that be? It would make sense, right?
Hey, Russ been listening to us because we talk a lot of media marketing, especially when I'm on the air here at HMG. Hey, he's been wearing that top there for a reason. He's got to get rid of them love handles. But yeah, I'm down with the Slim Jim. That is a great pickup. It would be a great opportunity for him to get a little extra cash on that side. But
sure.
The match itself, we see Drew McIntyre pretty much dominant in this thing.
Went a little long.
I think that's a little of the time fillers. A lot of these matches were longer on this one, but with good cause, I'm okay with it. We'll talk about it. One of the big spots, I love the just pure power from McIntyre. Dominant here, the reverse Alabama jammer. It was looking like he was going to hit him with the table. Then he focused it and it hits him on the steps with it, which was a nice spot. Decent match between these two. Super kicks are like butterfly kisses. They don't do much in this day and age, and they were flying like crazy inside of this match. Drew just shaking them off, but eventually Jimmy catches him with the old school roll up there. The only thing I would have changed inside of this match, and I would have been pitching this to the DOGG to get those pops. You go back and you talk about how Drew could have baited this audience and got some of that atomic heat by, just psyching them out with the Rock's music and then him making his entrance. I would have had mysteriously out of nowhere, instead of just getting the roll up, I would have had Drew get distracted when the Rock's music gets hits again. And he actually thinks that the Rock's coming out to confront him because of the stunt that he pulled, because we know Rock's going to be in the house. Then have Jimmy hit him with the old roll up, steal a 1, 2, 3, and no Yeet gets the W on the way out of there.
Absolutely.
You still could continue. Post-match, we get a very, very agitated big man in McIntyre who just puts an absolute beat down on the Uso. You've got everybody out there trying to stop this thing. Shane Helms is kind of leading the way with security, with the referees. Yeah, Dykstra was still out there, and they think they got Drew out of there, and he comes right back for more and hits that big kick onto the Uso.
Yeah, onto the Uso. I like it. Yeah, I mean, you said a lot of great ideas that they left money on the table for not doing that. And it's common sense too, Rick, what you're saying. And this is what's frustrating about, wrestling in general, that sometimes, and all the companies are guilty of this, common sense doesn't prevail in their minds, it seems, Rick. And unfortunately, they didn't do that when they should have done that. So that's a great idea of what you said, but they didn't think. Obviously, the match was good, I guess, but what does this really do for Jimmy, though? To be honest, I don't think it really does much for him, because where are we going with him moving forward towards the chamber and whatnot?
I think this is a big testing ground for him. We've seen the great success with his brother that Jay's having. Obviously, I don't think that anyone had these guys, slotted into these big primetime spotlight main event spots. You got to remember, even when they were having great, tremendous tag team success, they weren't even on the WrestleMania cards. How many years was it before they were actually on the card? Instead of just working the pre-shows. I think with the attention, more attention on the product than any other time of the year, the road to WrestleMania, this is a time to say, all right, Jimmy, Jay's stepped up. This is your time. You've had those demons. Have you overcome them? With the DUIs, the substance abuse, all of that. We're going to give you an opportunity here to fill in some of these blanks to help us ride out this, what are we looking at, 8 to 9 weeks still to go to WrestleMania. I think for Big Jim, this is a very telling time for him. This is a big test backstage from management. Can he handle this? Can he rise to that occasion? And hopefully down the road, when we do need someone to step up to fill in, especially in, that weird time between like Memorial Day and mid-June when you're not quite tuned up for SummerSlam, and then you at post SummerSlam in the fall, when they look to, we saw it last year with Judgment Day. Can you guys carry the ball until we get to late in the year, until the Royal Rumble season? And you gotta take those opportunities.
For sure, definitely. I just don't know. Like, you're right, it's a testing ground for him. I just don't know what the future exactly holds for him right at this moment. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I do want to thank Charles Orford, the hammer,
The hammer.
hammer time.
The tripod.
He's joined us, and Bruce also wants to know, Jimmy T, this is the reason why the European Championship needs a return, especially for Drew McIntyre. But I don't agree with that.
Doesn't need
Bruce.
it. Yeah. Doesn't need it.
Because why would he go below? He's been I don't understand guys that would want to achieve something below.
Not to knock the idea there from Bruce, but
no,
it goes to the old homage that you don't need a championship to make the man, and there isn't a need to just invent or reintroduce a championship so that Drew can make it. We've got too much gold going around. Drew is such an amazing performer and all that, right? He is hitting on all cylinders. He is right up there with the tops of the tops in the company. He's doing fine at what he's doing.
Yeah, he's way above that at this point. Let's just take the European Championship away, man.
So Drew takes the loss, but he is the one walking out on his own accord with that big grin on his face, and he is looking forward to going into the chamber and causing all sorts of havoc inside of that demonic construction. Backstage, we have Solos. Dakota, he has arrived. He gets out of the car. He is immediately met by Tama Tonga, Jacob Fatu. They exchange some words. Solo saying, hey, you know what happened last week? A misunderstanding, man. We're family. And then Fatu says, hey, I'll give you the benefit of a doubt. If we thought it was purpose, you wouldn't be standing here. And Fatu reminds him, we got to run them plays tonight. It's us in that big main event. So again, they're planting those seeds. Short and sweet here again. They're not overdrawing us. We're still locked in for what's happening. The excitement inside of the ring. Speaking of the chamber, very nice promo package. Hey, have you noticed this? I do want to say, the last couple of weeks of getting reinvested and watching all of the programming as much as I physically can, but since TKO took over as a company, Jimmy, it seems that, and they've always been good, but the production is just not more on point. It's like next level. New graphics, their crispness, all the video package are so much more are better done. And they were already amazing under just the WWE banner.
Absolutely. Like you said, they were always amazing. That goes way back to the 80s that were even amazing when you think about it, right, for the times. But now they're on a whole different level, Rick. It's almost laughable at how ahead of the game they are in terms of production. I think they're one of the best, period, on television in terms of anything at this point, dude.
Also of note here, coming up next Friday, maybe we'll get a little HMG special live watch along with it, but there's going to be a chamber kickoff event where they're going to be bringing a bunch of the superstars. It's just kind of like a little pre-party presser, if you will. I believe that's how they do those things. So we do have the chamber preview there coming up. We also get backstage, we get Carmelo Hayes refusing to call The Miz awesome. As we learn, we got that big main event tag team. We're going to have another tag team. It's got tag team championships on the line. 3 tag team matches on this card. The Miz and Carmelo Hayes are going to be taking on R-Truth in a mystery partner. How about that for suspense? Oof. All right, I want to get to I was talking about that. I was talking about that open. Excited. All right, Road Dogg, ready to roll with you. You're doing a great job. Again, my excitement level goes up a little bit more here. We get a Zelina Vega promo. Looking pretty good on that bike. Talking about how she's too small. People have overlooked her, no pun intended. She's coming to SmackDown with a new vision, a new goal to prove to everybody. Again, I love this. Absolutely love this. It is short. It's sweet. Tremendous production. It makes you feel something. You get a little connection here with Zelina. And we're not going to the same old where you just run somebody out into an arena, pandering to an audience, killing time with these just god-awful 20-minute plus promos or whatever the case might be. Again, this is on point. I'm thinking to myself watching, if this is the Road Dogg era, thank God I'm investing here. Jimmy, what do you think about the stuff I just ran down here, backstage stuff?
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, you put it best. So I totally agree with you. And as far as the Road Dogg goes, do you think he's doing this, right out of the gate because of all the negativity surrounding his, employment again with WWE in some ways? because a lot of people weren't really impressed with him being re-signed with the company again. I've got no issue with it, but it seems like he's trying to prove a point by coming in strong with what he's doing right now in and on SmackDown. But do you think there's any, is he trying to prove all the doubters wrong? Shall I say, all the naysayers?
Well, I think, and there's only a very small portion of the audience that the IWC that knows what's going on. But obviously, you want to impress, right? And there could be a lot of it, or, a lot of things going on in the back. And Mr. Alfred might be able to give us some insight over there in the chat, because as we've learned here, listening to those guys that have been inside, not just of the business, but inside the belly of the beast that is WWE, everything is a test, basically a rib. They're setting you up almost in every angle for failure. He might know this, and I know that Road Dogg has talked about mending those fences, fixing his relationship with Triple H after spending all those years going to TNA and just calling him out and blasting him at every opportunity that he could. And admittedly, for a long time, Road Dogg has talked about this. Randy has talked about, how that was a dark time for him. That addiction and substance abuse was really controlling where he was going. And they were hanging on by a thread then. And it's great to see him from that perspective, that he has this opportunity, a new lease on life, to go out there and make such a positive impact in professional wrestling. I'm hoping the best for him. I got a bad feeling about this, though, that you put him in charge of SmackDown Creative. So now he's got to answer to that network and all those complaints, all of that side of the business that the hardcore fans don't see.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping it's just not one of those, let's put him in this position just so that he has to eat the bullet later on when the network's pissed off about something, or, things aren't going as planned.
You hit the nail on the head. When they need a scapegoat, there he is.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. But unfortunately, that's how they think this company too. So you're right.
Yeah, and fans don't see that. And I know you hit you check out, what a lot of different groups are talking about, the different fans, and they don't understand that side of it. And I know the Hammer with us, the Hammer has seen it firsthand, the BS that happens from the management perspective, and just the way that professional wrestling is always operated.
Yeah, it's true. And by the way, Hammer, I see what you said about the Cody and Rock situation. We'll answer that question later on when we get to that sort of segment.
And that's one of my biggest fears there. The Hammer's talking about, what kind of test is this, or is it just a big rib? That they've got him and they're setting. I hope that's not the case. But again, I did enjoy the vignette there for Vega. Again, it's not the same old mic time BS, and it's effective. You can relate to her. You're looking forward to see what she's got inside the ring. All right, our second match of the night. We're back to the ring for some action. We have got The Miz and Carmelo Hayes. Mellow Don't Miz, right? Is that what we got?
Mellow Don't Miz.
Mellow Don't Miz, and R-Truth comes out and he introduces us to, God, how did we not see this coming from a mile away? A true Louisiana icon. A New Orleans. It's about as traditional as Bourbon Street, Mardi Gras, and Po' Boys. It's Louisiana night. Louisiana night. I gotta admit, man, this popped me pretty good. I didn't see this coming from anywhere. Louisiana night. R-Truth gets me here. He's giving them the beats, and he's giving them the Po' Boy. What I really loved about this is, instead of getting his stick in, taking the mic, he took a bite. He did. He, as Ben would say, it was yes and. He committed to the bit, and they just make their way to the ring. We get the match. You get the comedy spots in here. We got the tie-ins. The Miz wanted to be the number. We saw those guys last week. We see what's happening with Hayes and the Miz. R-Truth there to kind of help facilitate this thing, push us along, give us a fun little match. Another pop spot in here is when Truth, he confuses what corner he's in, and he tags the Miz in, and he steps out. Because I love commentary he's put over. Awesome Truth was just a thing a couple of months ago. And it ultimately it causes the babies to take the loss here as the heels, Carmelo Hayes and the Miz, pick up the win. And you see, after the W, Hayes kind of like, you know what, man, we got to win here. We did something.
And,
maybe something's starting to click between these two.
And Nakamura obviously got involved in the match as well.
Yes, I mean that was your trigger. Thank you on that one, to take out LA Knight, to take him out, to kind of leave R-Truth as the sitting duck there to eat the pin. Yeah. So it adds a little bit of the fuel to the fire there between the competitors, the U.S. champ and the former champ wanting to reclaim that championship. But I assume we're going to get that set up on the Go Home shows next week for the Elimination Chamber.
Yeah. I'll see what happens there. It'll probably be a pre-show match for
that's an interesting point, because this thing is getting fired back up. We have going back to when Nakamura wins that championship and then disappears for so long. He gives us an explanation saying that he's been sitting in the shadows, lurking in the shadows, seeing who was worthy to step up to him to be that challenger. We get the old champ getting his rematch. Not a lot of heat in this program, and I'm not exactly sure of this new direction for Nakamura is hitting at all. Jimmy, your thoughts on that? You've been watching SmackDown, following a lot longer, with your finger on that button, intensely watching week after week. Where do you think? Where did they miss here with Nakamura?
I don't know if it's exactly his fault, to be honest. Because they're not really, like, he wins the United States Championship after going in this new direction with whatever this character really is. And then he was off television for a good 4 weeks, it felt like, 3-4 weeks. I forgot he was even around. I forgot he was even US champion, to be honest, right? And then they bring him back to play second fiddle last week, where, if you remember the promo in the ring while he's sitting outside doing nothing, just listening to The Miz and LA Knight talk. I just don't understand, like, do they not trust him? And if they don't trust him, then why, like, have him be United States champion? They should have just kept the belt on Louisiana Knight. You know what I'm saying? So, why? I don't understand what they're doing. And like Charles says, they're booking him like a freaking joke. And really, they should bring back, like Bruce says, as the babyface Nakamura. And more importantly, the NXT Nakamura was the most over Nakamura, the king of strong style. Just bring that version back. Everyone likes that Nakamura. Everyone loves singing along to his damn song. Just keep him that way, because they're always trying to do different things with him. And that's admirable, but it just doesn't click, dude.
It is, they've tried multiple times with that evil Nakamura. And I don't know if it's just because with this Western audience, that, as you said, he's kind of the guy, for whatever reason, they want to get behind. They want to rally behind Nakamura. They love the entrance, that they can make their own. They can sing along with. It's just one of, there's just fun characters that you attach yourself to. Right, doesn't mean necessarily that he has to be main event material. It could be just one of those great spots in the mid card that maybe the show is starting. It might start dipping here. You look at trends. Plug in somebody like that to re-energize your audience into that mid card. I don't know his contract details. I'm just wondering, maybe on those next rounds of cuts, don't be surprised sooner than later if you see that name Nakamura.
Wow.
What else is? I'm not wishing anybody to lose that big payday.
You're right.
He's had a tremendous run with the company, making a lot of money. I just. Not sure what is left for him inside of WWE. I know that Ben pitched a couple weeks ago, so this year, to that this incarnation of Nakamura should have been detailed right down to the T as Shredder from the Ninja Turtles.
He looks like Shredder from the Ninja Turtles.
Well, he looks like a poor man, a Tamu. Even the look right now isn't that intimidating. It's not that menacing. But and Ben even, jokingly said, if you're going to go that Shredder route with him, it would be, it's not like they can't go find a bunch of foot soldiers, that, undersized little midget Asian wrestlers to bring over that can come do all his dirty bidding. I mean, he could have his whole Foot Clan.
Oh, no. Foot soldiers with Nakamura and calling him the Foot Clan again, like from Ninja Turtles. Why not? I mean, fuck it. There used to be Ninja Turtles in WWE. Rick, if you remember.
They were the Toxic Turtles. The Toxic Turtles. Yes.
What a joke, dude.
One time, hey, you got to throw it out there. That's when the Turtles were hot, That's when the Turtles were hot. Hey, one of the dream matches I would have loved to seen, the Toxic Turtles versus the Dynamic Dudes.
God.
Skateboards are legal.
Fucking throw Darby Allin into it too, since we're talking about skateboards.
Skateboards are illegal. And a big
I'm gonna
pizza
cry.
party. A big pizza party afterwards. Toxic Turtles versus the Dynamic Dudes, baby. Vicious got an idea there for Nakamura. Go ahead and let us know there, man. We'll revisit it for you. We also get an announcement. Iron Mike, baby. Iron Mike's going to be a part of the WrestleMania 41 weekend. So if you got those tickets, go ahead and make sure get a little bite there with Iron Mike.
Yeah.
We get another vignette here. I'm going. Hey, I love the open. I'm right here with Road Dogg. I'm rising again. I love this vignette. This is the Queen, Charlotte Flair. I think just put her in a tremendous spot. It's not her having to go out there trying to figure out to the audience, should I try to play baby? Should I try to play heel? She doesn't know how to adjust when they're throwing different things at her. It's not the robotic delivery that we're getting from her. Just lets her sit back with ease, tell you what she's got going on. Good presentation again in these vignettes. If this is doggy style, woof woof, baby. I like it raw. This is what we got. So we get that. And we got
Wolf, baby. Yeah.
it's Tiffy time. We see the champ backstage making her way to the ring before we go to break there. Of course, she is preparing for her match with Candice LeRae. All right, Jimmy, what did I tell you, man? I'm here. I'm loving these vignettes. Shit's short and sweet. Nobody talking in the ring. Head's about to explode here, man.
Shit.
Stratton gets in the ring. All right, again, all right. Before we get to the pandering, the mic time here, and how just god awful this was, we talked about this last week.
Right.
I still am failing to see any reason as fans why we should be cheering for Tiffany Stratton, because she has an association now with Trish that we love, but she is still. I mean, even her walk to the ring screams just uptight, better than you, absolute bitch.
She's a female jock, pretty much. Like, you know what I mean? That's what she is. She's better than you, and you know it.
She's one of those it glam girls.
Right.
Or one of the mean girls.
A cheerleader as well. You know, she would have been a cheerleader, one of those type of bitches. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, but you're right. It's true. But the thing is, the fans were liking it, like, were cheering for her from pretty much day dot since she went onto the main roster. Even though she's been trying to be that heel, and she's a natural heel because she's probably that type of person even in real life. How could she not be just by looking at her, if you know what I mean?
Right.
But
Go ahead.
oh, sorry. I was going to say, but in saying that, like Charles says, the mean girls.
Yeah, but she's a mean girl. The artist saying them gimmicks though. She's got some hell of a gimmicks. Go check online. There was a wardrobe malfunction.
Was it?
Oh yeah.
I missed it.
I'll send it to you when we get done recording here. But there was a wardrobe malfunction. Hey, let me ask you, Jimmy, what do you like on your pizza?
You know what? I like a lot of things on my pizza. To be
Well,
honest.
do you like big old slices of pepperonis?
Absolutely do.
Yeah, because that's what was popping out. That was popping out of the top there. Yeah, that's floating around. There's a corner spot where it's popping out. So check that out. But yeah, so we got Tiffy time. She's out here, and again, even her delivery, her walk, titty time. Yeah, it's popping, pop of the day, baby. And so even in her walk, her delivery as she's talking in the ring, you know, it's she had Nia beat by, and then she focused her attention to Charlotte. Why? Why are we doing this? She is still great. She's still just around that year mark on the main roster. She's not ready for one of these spots. You've been showing us these awesome vignettes highlighting your women's division all night, and then you drop a bomb like this in ring immediately. That hot New Orleans crowd going dead. Or if they're not, it's about to happen, because here comes Candice LeRae and her big friend, best friend, Nia Jax, and not just and you know it's gonna happen. Nia's got a mic in her hand, but even LeRae's got a mic. My head was at this point. The dam with the dog, and this is god awful. This exchange here. This exchange was no. It just wasn't slowly. It just wasn't slowly dropping. We were at max heat, and we weren't just no heating our way down. It just the floor dropped out, man. I told you this morning. I called you earlier just to make sure we were ready to go. It's like I got to go back and rewatch. I fell asleep. During this promo stuff. I had to go back and rewatch this part of the show because it was just so god awful inside of itself. We finally get through this back and forth. We're going to get to the match.
Back and forth. I like what you did there.
Yeah, and then here comes Charlotte. We just had this awesome vignette with her. We don't overly need her involved here.
Right.
Now, I will say one thing. At least she went to the commentary table instead of addressing the live audience to further just drain whatever life was, in the arena. Just suck it dry. So and she's very limited to what she's lending, mic-wise at the commentary table.
She pretty much is just watching most of the time. Assessing, should I say.
Well, her one statement there, because as Tiffy put over, she's going to be the new head girl. She wants to be the mean girl. And Charlotte reminds everybody that she is a woman and she is at the top, which I liked. I thought that was a good line for her. Another thing that I thought about watching it there, instead of giving Charlotte that open mic where she has obviously shown that she's having trouble adjusting to the different reactions from the crowd, staying on script or in that delivery, when she's got the headset on, someone in the back can coach her as she's interacting with the guys at the table. So if she gets lost somewhere, someone can hold her hand and guide her through what's going to help her put the best light for her.
Right. No, I agree. Absolutely. And Frank, thanks for joining us, by the way, man.
But yeah, we have Tippy goes over. Obviously, we know Candice isn't going to get the big win there. There is the outside interaction. We're going to get the beatdown. Trish Stratus faction in to make the save. Why aren't we announcing that Trish is here? She's a draw.
Well, yeah,
people are going to tune in for her.
They didn't, right?
Why don't we get some interaction with her earlier in the show in one of those cool little backstage segments? Maybe if she tells her, hey, I know we're teaming up. I've got a lot to teach you. I can show you where we start to see where Tiffany is learning to evolve more into a better babyface, learning from Trish. And if you advertise Trish is going to be there, you're going to help your viewership. I know you already got The Rock, ideally your biggest draw that you have. You already got him advertised, but why not add a little bit more?
I agree, but you know what sucks, dude? You know what they do? You know where Trish gets her talking time in and whatnot? On all these after the show segments that happen, that they put up on YouTube for you to see where, no one knows about. And that's stupid. They got to stop doing that. At least do something on the main shows so we know what's going on, at least.
Well, but, after 3 hours of sitting through this, I'm sorry, man. You got to be absolutely die freaking hard to go, what The Rock's going to say about, whatever afterwards. And,
it's all about the soul, Rick. You know what
I mean, I'll usually stick around for the premium live events, and I'll try to catch those pressers. In a lot of the ways, it's the see who they invited and what kind of stupid ass questions a lot of the smart sheets when they're involved are going to ask.
They're dogs.
But anyway, post match, we get the heels beating up the babies as we look forward to that big tag match coming up next week at the Elimination Chamber. Real quick backstage, what we got there? What do you?
He says 2 gimmicks together equals, what did they say again? He's talking about Trish and
right. Hey, gimmicks galore, baby. Gimmicks galore. We got Cody and Priest running into each other backstage with a little exchange. We got some more from Fatu and Solo. We get a women's elimination chamber video. Let me ask you this, Jimmy, just real quick. Thoughts as we're going to be talking about chamber next week. when you look at the lineup, the men's versus the women's, it just shows you the glaring gap in star power between these two matches.
But
you
wait, we need equality when it comes to pay, Rick.
I know, but look at, I mean, you got, I mean, it's just everybody out there. You think about the men's match and you look at the women's match, it's like, oh my God, I mean, this is the difference in the star power between these two. And they want more screen time and equality and all this, on all this shit.
He's going to be great, this show. Hey, Matt, if you're watching this, oh no, actually you're going to do it, so it doesn't matter. We need this in little clips, Rick.
All right, so we'll get this one here. I got my notepad over here for some timestamps here. So I got the 126.
This one's going to generate a lot of interest. I can see it because it's an interesting conversation. I'm not going to lie. I'm actually enjoying this conversation about it because, you know, I don't understand how these women think when it comes to equal pay. Like, anyway.
Well, speaking of the women, we have Saxon's backstage. He's talking with Belair and Naomi. Naomi is set to take on Liv Morgan coming up on on SmackDown. Let's say SmackDown on SmackDown, and they announced that Monday from right down the road. I mean, right here in Cincinnati, Monday Night Raw coming into town. NXT on Tuesday. Looking forward to both of those shows.
In Cincy too?
Yeah, got both of them, man. Wow. It's a stacked NXT card. But we're going to have the women's tag team titles on the line next week here in Cincinnati as Belair and Naomi. They are going to defend against Liv and Roxanne. Hey, another vignette. So all right. I'm up a little bit. I'm coming back a little bit. I like the Alexa this.
Getting hot again, Rick.
Yeah. In each one of these vignettes has been unique to the character. It has a great look to it. I get a feel of who they are as individuals. I'm getting a connection with them. You're starting that emotional bond. This is how we should be building all of our superstars.
Right.
Short, sweet, to the point until we can get them out there in the ring and get them involved in some, storylines like that. But Bliss, she's putting over the chamber. She's been there. She's putting the division on notice. She is back, and she's looking to make some big noise. We were talking about that women's chamber and maybe a lack of star power there inside of that. Jimmy, real quick, do you think Bliss is one of the favorites with her and Rhea? Now that we know that Charlotte has the Queen has choose you, Tippy time. Is Bliss the best option for Rhea?
No, in my opinion.
Of the competitors, who else do you like in there?
Really,
Belair?
none of them. But
Bayley?
I don't like any of them really to face.
Well, you got to choose one.
I know that's true, but the thing is, Alexa Bliss is too small, man, for someone like a Rhea, for me to realistically believe that she's got a chance at becoming women's champion. I just feel she's just too tiny, way too petite. If you know what I mean.
I think you'd have to be very careful in how you shoot that, unless you're going with that as the storyline.
Right.
But Bliss she's got those mind games. She's got that other side to her where she can, go to the fun house. And she alludes towards that. She's going to turn the chamber into a fun house, if you will. So she's got some tricks up her sleeve that she's going to bring into this thing. She is obviously she's had a great long career, but she is a fresh face as she is returning from a long absence. The crowd is drawn to her. That they really enjoy her. She moves merch. I think she might be the best option here.
She's probably.
Athletically, you could go back. You could go back and visit Bianca Belair versus Ripley. Two amazing looking athletes. They've got history going back to NXT. You could easily revisit.
I would be cool with that. The only problem is we both know, everyone more than likely even knows that Rhea's going to win this match regardless who she's facing anyway, in my opinion. You know what I mean? I don't see any of these women right now actually dethroning her.
I'm not exactly sure. And I'm looking at this thing. Liv Morgan, I think it's too early to revisit. We just did that program. No. What else are we going to get out of that? I think your two big ones, Bayley. I don't see where there's a good selling point. maybe some politics backstage that they just want to give Bayley an opportunity because she has been such a loyal soldier for so long.
Right.
Roxanne Perez, no way. Naomi, no way.
I would love to see Roxanne Perez actually be the one, but again, she's tiny though, dude, compared to Rhea Ripley.
Who is tuning in for that? What is your selling
no
point
one,
in that?
Probably, you're right. I mean, look, people are saying in the chat that Kiana James, should be the one to face Rhea Ripley, but again, who's gonna really? Does people in the mainstream wrestling audience know who Kiana James really is?
Yeah, hold on. The chat right now is just hung up on shakaronies. They're hung up on them gimmicks. They're hung up on them gimmicks, and she just got this done. So she's going to be debuting those, I'm sure. I think she's going to be one of those big returns after WrestleMania. No pun intended, they're the big returns. But I mean, unless they substitute somebody into that match, I mean, we're looking at Liv Morgan, Bianca Belair, Alexa Bliss, Bayley, Naomi, and Roxanne Perez.
If there was an open spot, then I would say it would be Jade Cargill straight off the bat. But then you got to have her beat Rhea if that was the case. But it's not going to be.
That's a great spectacle. It looks good. You going in that match is going to be the drizzling shits. But at that point, you got the people's money. You've sold it. Who cares?
Doesn't matter. If they get psychology, if they understand psychology, they can still pull off a great match. You know what I mean? And it could potentially, if built right, could have main evented a WrestleMania Night 1. That type of matchup. Just by names alone. Rhea versus Cargill. Superhero woman versus superhero woman. It's like the mega powers exploding for the women. Except they were never friends, per se. But you know what I mean.
So I mean, there is some intrigue to see what direction they're going to go. I guess that's the.
It'll be Gimmickomania.
Gimmickomania, or we could do Manogram Mania.
Oh, we could, absolutely.
The breast show in the world, baby. Manogram Mania. Coming from Vegas. Where they know about gimmicks. They know about them gimmicks out there in Vegas, baby.
Sponsored by Hooters. Well, not anymore.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
So we do get Naomi and Bianca. They skip their way down to the ring. Hey, I like this here. Reason, put some heat on. Let's transition this thing. Put some heat on it. Let's watch it on Raw when they get in there for the titles. Liv and Raquel, they don't care about this match. They know there's bigger stakes at hand. They just come out and just start whooping ass. We don't even get a match out of this thing.
That's it. That's all it was. It was just a throwaway.
Yeah, no contest. I liked it. Short, sweet, and we got some intrigue. They built some heat here. That's what it is. They went and sold the match to watch it there on Raw. All right, finally, The Rock has arrived here. We get the big announcement that WrestleMania 42, the final boss is in the building. He gets the announcement that WrestleMania 42 is going to be heading to New Orleans, the Big Easy, getting another WrestleMania. Of course, one of the
WrestleManias that they had in the last freaking 15 years, dude.
Plenty.
Look, this is the third one, isn't it?
Probably. I mean, one of the most memorable moments in history was WrestleMania 30 and Yeselmania.
Hogan, Austin, and Rock
Yeselmania, man. When Bryan won. How the hell you forget? It was like one of the greatest moments in WrestleMania history.
Right. Absolutely. Of course, the Yes movement.
But it's not a surprise. You look regularly. How many Super Bowls regularly go there? New Orleans is an all-around. It's an all-around destination. It's a party town, man. It's one of the best spots, and it's a city that's built to handle things like this. They've got the infrastructure. They've got the lodging. They've got the bars, the restaurants. Again, they got the transportation to move people around. They are a big event city, New Orleans.
Charles the Hammer Orford says, the final man, biatch.
Yeah, so, and then, all right, so Rock makes the announcement. He's pandering to the crowd. Boom, flips that switch, and we get heel Rock. And now he's running them down to ST.
For freaking hypocrite Rock at this point.
Well, this is the only thing I was kind of in and out on it last night as the ladies kind of put me to sleep. I went back and rewatched this thing here. The Rock out there just kind of doing, I guess that's the give it, what we're supposed to take from the Rock at this point. He just does whatever the hell he wants, when he wants, because he's a Rock. He's playing on a different level.
That annoys me, Rick.
It is a little annoying, but I think that's the point to it.
I guess. I mean, I'm a Rock guy. Like I said, I just don't like this bullshit. It's bullshit what he's doing. He's literally fucking with everybody right now, Rick.
Well, and that becomes the point as he lays into it here. He goes ahead and he calls Cody out. And that's where we're kind of getting this message. He reminds us he isn't, just one of the all-time greatest WWE superstars. He went on to become an absolute global phenom megastar in movies, and now he sits atop of the roost at TKO as the head of, pretty much put himself over as the head of board of directors, where anything that he says, this is his world that we are living in.
Yep.
And he essentially invites Cody, just don't be here for you. Just don't be here for the universe. Be there for The Rock. Be his champion. And you're getting those undertones where he wants to create a corporate Cody.
Imagine that, dude. If they actually... I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing that. Just say The Rock becomes the face now of the authority, say.
Well, I think that's what
sort of authority.
What you're getting in a certain sense here, that's what it is. That he can come down and override any call, no matter if it's one of the GMs, if it's Triple H getting all that praise. This is coming from the top of the top.
Right.
It doesn't. He pretty much comes out and tells you it doesn't get any higher, any bigger than The Rock. What he says, that's what's going to go. And he's playing to Cody. Hey, we went to hell. We've done all this. Look, we've mended the fences. We've gotten together. Our families have gotten together. I need you to buy in on this. Cody's not so sure, but that's one of the all-time classic tales that you see in whatever the hell the case might be in storytelling, is that internal conflict with your hero.
Well, it's true. You know what they say about meeting your heroes? It's one of those deals, right? It's just, what takes me out of this, though, and apparently the rumor is, if you believe it, Rick, that the reason why The Rock is doing this, according to the dirty sheets, because they're pretty dirty right now, Rick, is that WrestleMania is not actually doing well in ticket sales in Vegas, allegedly. And this is why this is happening. That's the talk amongst the dirty sheets and the IWC.
I saw some of that. And I don't think that there isn't an interest in WrestleMania, as again, man, this is one of the mega events that's always selling out.
That's stupid. Exactly, dude. I mean,
hold on a minute here, and I want to pull this up because I think this is an indicator of maybe why we're not seeing those again. Because we're used to, oh my God, WrestleMania is already sold out by this point.
Well, yeah, I guess.
Anytime. All right. First of all, this is a marquee event for WWE. As you and I talked a couple weeks ago, kind of ranking where WrestleMania falls globally for these big ass.
And I do put it in the top 10 of global events, dude, for real.
For these spectacles, it draws from all around the world. But especially when you go to Vegas, I know going out there for Super Bowl week, I had friends, they were paying like $20 for a Bud Light.
Wow.
So your prices are going.
Dude.
All right, here. I am over at Vivid Seats right now. And I'm looking for some floor seats that are back off of, not front row or anything like that. So it's going to be a hard view. And you're looking at over $2,000 for one seat.
What?
Yeah.
Wow, dude.
They've got some upper deck viewing level here in the thousands. Couple $100 to sit at the very top of the stadium.
Whoa. I've been to stadium events before, and if you're up in the nosebleeds in a stadium, the ring looks like absolute tiny. It's tiny. Why would you pay $1,000 to go and see WrestleMania from the nosebleeds? I get it. It's an experience, you know what I mean, regardless. But that's a lot of money, dude. You can't expect people to pay that sort of cash.
Absolutely. And that just puts your ass in the seat. Now you got to get out to Vegas. You got to fly out there, which are usually cheap flights. You got to get rooms. And while you're out there, you're not just going to this. You're hitting casinos. You're taking in the sights and the sounds of the city. And again, shit ain't cheap out there.
No shit.
My buddies that were out there just hanging out for the Super Bowl week, they ended up having to, they left the room they're in and went off the strip just so they could afford to stay for a couple days.
God, I don't blame them. Why would you want to stay like right downtown? You know what I mean? You might as well go to the sticks and stay there if it's going to save you a lot more money. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and I'll just... No, sorry, we continue on.
Well, I'm just looking here at the available just here through this. I mean, there are still, and these are secondhand too as well. I mean, here's a viewing level, $3,600 for viewing level for a single seat.
If they don't sell out, serves them right, Rick. Seriously, I mean, come on, man.
$3,600. Rhea Ripley should be sitting on my face. Yeah, so
What are you talking about, dude? Not just her. I mean, we need a few of them to sit on your face.
yeah.
And with that sort of money. And I just want to say, welcome the icon who says, "Hi guys, just found this." Well, you found the right place and the best SmackDown podcast in the world, right here at the Smack Attack. Please stay tuned. Even watch it from the start. You will not be disappointed, my friend, especially with all our other shows. And we're just happy that you found us and you were joining us right now. So thank you, the icon. Everybody, welcome the icon in the chat. Make him feel warm and comfortable.
There we go.
And thank you.
So to wrap things up here with the exchange here between Rock and Cody, and I think this is exactly. And Rock says, he throws it out there. He wants Cody to kind of come under his tutelage, listen to him, take him to that next level where Cody could be a breakout star like The Rock. They could be going to those next levels of all the all-time greats that transitioned outside of professional wrestling. And he's giving them a deadline. And that's going to be next Saturday, Canada, Elimination Chamber. Wants to know if Cody is getting on that Rock train. He's expecting that answer. I think this is something that the Cody character absolutely needs. We need something. Our fans are questioning his direction. There is some interest. As a lot of his reign as champ is just. So what do you want to talk about? Just that straight white meat,
Like
baby face.
White meat, baby face, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So this will be interesting. It also adds a little fuel to the fire of the speculation that the right move for the men's chamber could be John Cena.
That would be cool. It'd be interesting, especially if you go with a corporate Cody going into that Mania and have Cena.
And you have different generations being represented, as The Rock was one time a face of the company, Cena for so long that led that great financial boom, who set the company up where they are now. Cena, the one who never went, once he got to that level, the John Cena that we all know, the hustle, loyalty, respect, even when fans wanted that turn, who always held to the guns, always held to the guns. But you have a passing of a torch a little bit in Cody, who right now is playing the John Cena. But to solidify that, to beat the old regime, will Cody take that corporate side that The Rock was known for himself?
By any means necessary, right? If he wants to keep that championship, in the most, any sort of way, hey, sometimes you got to make a deal with the devil. And he did mention the soul, and he wants his soul. But like the Hammer said, though, which is a little disturbing, Hammer, Rock and Pat Patterson train. God damn it, Hammer. We don't come on, we don't need a cream team 2.0, just saying. you know what I'm saying? But in saying that, the icon also has something to say by saying John Cena hasn't even had a match. What a farce of I know, it's bullshit.
Hasn't had a match. He just took on 29 other competitors in the Royal Rumble. That's a match for him.
Let's be real. He's full of shit. That's the only thing that bothers me. Did he not say he was going to be back this year full time? He pretty much said that, dude.
Yeah, he's been at the first premium live event. He's going to be at this premium live event. He's going to be at the next one. He's got international dates already set up. I think it is very fair with his schedule, what he's got going. And you don't want to go out there on this farewell tour and overexpose and risk an injury somewhere for him that completely derails this thing. You got to protect it.
But don't lie to the people, dude. You know what I mean?
It's not a lie. Where is it a lie?
He said he was going to be here pretty much full time. I remember the first time he announced it. He said he wasn't going to go anywhere. He's going to be
just because you interpret full time one way doesn't mean that it's not the other.
Come on, he's playing tricks with us. He's look, whatever. He's John Cena. I'm not hating on it. but I'm just saying he's full of absolute caca, just like Mike, who's another. I've never seen Mike around, and if you're a
Good.
new
Some
listener,
first timers giving us that big cheesy grin there. I'll talk. You want to talk about some caca? How about this? More freaking microphones. More microphones as we get our DIY, the tag team champions. They hit the ring. You talk about killing a room, killing an audience. Are these guys trying to get over with some DX kind of skit, interaction between? Here is what I really loved about this. I've been a fan of both of these guys throughout their career. This is not clicking with these guys in this moment on the main roster. But this popped me, and it's not in a positive pop. Not for them. You don't want to see this. But when they ask everyone rise, everyone please stand, and we're getting that big panned out hard cam shot, and they're probably showing 75 to 100 people that you can see, fans, and maybe like 6 to 10 of them actually stand up. That is how disinterested this live audience is in what was happening in DIY, trying to get out there and get themselves over with this pre-match promo. I don't think I've ever been happier ever in my life to see Pretty Deadly than when their music hit and they come out and just started whooping ass to put it on these guys. And again, hey, the Street Profits saved the day by getting this match started out, come out and just beating everybody's ass. And what's been so great about the Profits lately? The vignettes. Because they haven't been out there seen live in the arena. This is a big moment. They have finally emerged from behind the camera when they weren't just getting that smoke. They were bringing that smoke, bringing that fire in those promos. Great stuff for them. Good to see them back here as we see where this tag team division's going.
Well, Miguel Torres has brought up something interesting. He asked, did anyone hear the commentary talk during the commercials? One said, I'm going to need an effing drink after that sequence.
You know what? That actually, you know what? That is a great call out there, because I did a double take at one point during the show, maybe twice during the show, thinking about it, where it was like, wait a minute, I think we weren't supposed to hear that in the pit.
That's hilarious, man. Grus says DIY will do better in TNA. I agree. They just scream TNA or AEW, to be fair. I mean, if you're the little guy, though, you'd want to go to AEW because that's where we get over as the little guys.
What was the question?
All Elite Wrestling. Sorry?
What was the question there? I'm sorry, I was looking at my run here.
He says, the question was about, did anyone hear the
comment? No, I know, I got that one. What was the question about TNA or something like that?
Oh, I'm saying that DIY would do better in TNA. And that's what Grus said in the chat. I actually agree with him.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, they're talented individuals. Obviously, they're going to get a much bigger payday in AEW. And so we get a John Cena vignette. Vignettes all over. Yeah, thank you, dog. Kevin Owens promo, pretty much accepting. We're going to get the non-sanctioned match there at the Elimination Chamber with him and Sammy.
Yeah, absolutely. And sorry, just quickly, I just want to say, it's Mikali Torres. Look, Mikali Torres. Don't worry, I'll see it now. Sorry about that. Mikali. I just wanted to say, sorry, but continue on, Rick.
We got a lot of shit going on here. We give us a break here. So you guys saying he's not here full time? He filmed this vignette. Come on, man. He's putting in that work. He's putting in that loyal.
He's pulling is you know what, all right?
Hey, he's putting in that loyalty to his commitment. He is showing his hustle, and he needs the likes of you and the others out there to goddamn show him the respect as one of the GOATs, because that's what you're getting on the farewell tour here from Cena. So, hey, put it up. Put some respect on that name when you talk about Cena. Well, we got it. By the way,
really, jeez. Sorry, I didn't see it. I see it now. I get it. Did you see that?
The clitoris.
Yes, he's
muscle clits.
Yeah, well.
The muscle clit crew, baby. What you gonna do?
Thunder flaps.
Hey, some guys that might enjoy some muscle clits. We got four big heavy hitters in the main event. It's our big tag team main event. Damian Priest and Braun Strowman taking on Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu with Tamatanga there in their corner. Yeah, this is my kind of match, man. This is just like the Hammer and Ox out there. Some big old dogs out there throwing down. Some big sweaty meat, pounding on each other.
Eats, ladies and gentlemen.
Absolutely. So, Jimmy, we get some more confusion here. And I know you were kind of alluding towards this later, the setup here for potential WrestleMania developments. I'll let you talk a little bit about the main event here.
Well, let's be real. This is what it was. It was all a facade. Basically, this is for the Solo and Fatu, matchup going into WrestleMania. I feel like that's where we're gonna go. Obviously, with these two. Is it the right move? Because I feel like with Solo, particularly, he's going to be so outshined by Fatu that it might actually damage him, dude. I mean, am I wrong in saying that? Because I feel like he's going down very slowly right now to where he's going to be in the mid-cards all over again.
Okay, again, so this is the time to shine here. What else do you do with him? Or where are you trying to protect him, Jimmy, if you're laying us out? This is a sink or swim. This is a sink or swim. This is a shine or be exposed as shit. He doesn't necessarily have to go over here, as everyone kind of believes that Fatu might be the future where they're looking. Hey, there's some concerns with Fatu. He's got to trim up. He has got to firm up that body for that main event presentation.
For sure.
We were talking about with Big Jim. This is a stage, a moment to shine, even in the mid-card. So making the absolute most out of those opportunities that you're given. And they're going to have, and just out of what we're talking about what's going to be presented on television inside the match, there is an internal test here. They're going to be hit with ribs. They're going to be put to those ultimate tests to see how they can handle this. Are they ready for these spots? Who truly wants to emerge as that next big thing for them?
Well, see, and you're right. He's absolutely, and it's getting competitive for that spot too. By the looks of things. But the thing is, I just feel for Solo because I feel like if it's just me, Rick, but since he's come back, does he look deflated? Like almost like I don't want to say
a little bit. A little bit.
I mean?
And I do want
body language is off.
I do want to ask Hammer over in the chat, maybe try a little insight here about with putting the Samoans against each other here at WrestleMania. Is it again, Hammer can give us some insight into this. Is it, hey, we think they can work together, or is a test to see if we can get them to turn on each other, to get a little dissension inside of those ranks? Because, hey, they have these weird tests. They have these weird ribs to try to divide and conquer inside of those professional locker rooms. It makes no sense, but that is the reality of the business. To your point, Jimmy, I think actually you've got a great point there. It kind of seems a little bit that he is discouraged, where he thought, hey, man, they put this rocket on me. I'm the guy that was able to stand here and hold this group after Roman. Do they still have the faith in me? Am I still that guy? Now, again, that could be a lot of things that we're not seeing backstage in the political game and these tests and these ribs.
And that's definitely a test to see how he's going to react to that type of shit, to see if he can move past it and not be discouraged. But if he gets discouraged, he's failed already.
Right. He's already defeated if
exactly.
he's not. And I think it'll be interesting to see how those guys play out together. Are they going to rally together and say, hey, let's get together and make this the best thing that we can on this mid-card? Or is someone going to be able to get in there and divide them where they're at, truly behind the scenes at odds with each other? I think if they get together, make the most of their moments, they could do something to shine pretty good here in this mid-card.
For sure. If he understands the political side of things, they should stick together and actually demand, because they're not going to fire these guys, you know what I mean? Actually grow some balls and make some moves. You know what I'm saying?
Hey,
if you feel you deserve it.
There's a lot of Samoans active right now, and there's only so much spotlight. So I'm interested to see, again, Or do they want them united, or are they trying to get them divided to see, to weed some of these guys out?
I think they're trying. I think there's maybe one too many Samoans, if you know what I mean, that are all part of the family too, which is a lot of power, dude. When you think about it backstage, don't be surprised if they really are trying to divide them a little bit, so they don't get too powerful.
Well, and whoever that might be, I mean, is this H and Sean's doing? But again,
it's like a Vince thing, to be honest.
It sounds like something Vince would do.
Absolutely.
But if there is some kind of, can we set up the vision? We're testing these guys. You got to walk that thin line, because there was a lot of reality in the segment we just saw. Who's at the top of that mountain you got to answer to, and he happens to be in that family.
Absolutely, dude. That's what makes this interesting, though. You know what I mean? I think we'll know a lot after WrestleMania, and see where they will sort of be and what spot they will be in after Mania. So it's going to be interesting.
Disappointed or surprised that we have this heat building between the Samoans, and The Rock has no words of wisdom or any kind of interaction with him?
That's another thing that confuses me, dude. And that's what I mean. Like, I don't understand all this bullshit. Like, I get it, but like, it's just weird, man. Like, that's why I hate what happened on the Netflix show from back then, because he exploded everything, and now it's like, we're going to try again with this soul bullshit and join the Illuminati, basically. You know what I mean? Which is the authority in WWE. I do truly feel that at this point in time, Cody has to join this new authority, or whatever it is that they're trying to do. The soul, snatchers, they can call themselves, for all I care. Whatever it is, I feel he has to join this new thing. And if he's a heel, he should take bits of that Stardust sort of character as Cody, though.
He's already. I don't think he's. All right, I'll let you finish.
Wait, I'm not talking about being Stardust. I'm talking about, like, how the way he talks, the way Stardust talks. If he uses that cadence as a heel, especially as a corporate heel, I think that would do wonders for him. Because instead of, so what do you want to talk about, Al? What's he going to say as a heel? So, I don't want to talk to you. Is that what he's going to say? I can see him saying something stupid like that.
Cody is a natural heel.
Absolutely. Absolutely a natural heel.
He has a smugness side to him that he can unleash there. Sure. He travels in the most glamorous bus. He comes from a royal wrestling family. He's got this smoking hot ass wife. He's living that dream. He's dressed to the nines. That is a very all of those ingredients. You can bake yourself up one hell of an awesome entree that you love to hate.
Absolutely.
He's got all those ingredients there. So I think when he makes that switch, that's going to absolutely take him to that next level there. And then I think what you really do, you've created a guy that you bought into, and that's what's so magical about it. We spent these years buying into this ride of Cody Rhodes, from leaving the company to starting a company to shocking the world and coming back, where we thought, dude, they are just, thank God you got your big payday, because they are going to bury the shit. And he defies all those odds, goes to a WrestleMania, loses. Okay, they embarrassed him. Comes back and wins this. Now he is carrying the top championship in this company. He is their number one go-to. He's got great success in other businesses. We're emotionally invested there. Now turn him on us. Now turn him on us and break everyone's hearts.
Well, look for example, like, before we end the show.
As Revamp to say, Cody and Brandy are a package of shallowness you just want to despise.
For sure, because he comes across as like he's like a politician almost. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's always
inside. I mean, you could even go to a simple promo is you look at all this divide in the country and do it like I did it. Look at my. They show themselves as an example, but you do it in such an egotistical way it pisses everybody off.
Oof! Can you imagine a delusional Cody Rhodes as champion, like full blown delusional, like as in, what are you booing me for? Like, I don't understand why you boomed me. I did this for you and blah blah blah.
Right.
Like,
Well, all the jokes. He could lean into
right,
that. He's the one that is responsible for racial harmony because the leading example with
and I
his
hate that
family and
too
all
about
that.
him. But Labrat hits a nail on the head. Cody's the rest of
And
the
lean
Kardashians.
into that.
Absolutely.
Lean into it. At that point, introduce Brandy, bring her back into the fold, start showing us during episodes of Raw, SmackDown, whatever the case might be, all programming, make it where they're filming their reality show within the show, just to irritate people.
Oh, that would be good, dude. If they did that, that would be absolute television. I hope they think that way because they should do that and actually have Cody go back to the dark hair too as a heel. You know, he changes it up when he's a heel or babyface, even though I feel like the blonde version should have been the heel, really. But he's sort of changed it up with the dark hair version is usually the heel. And I get why he does that.
Revamp's got one there for you. You're saying what could his line be? He's got one. It's an interesting one.
Is this his
He's saying,
latest-
what do you peasants want to talk about?
yeah, that'd be great.
In comes The Rock and says, it doesn't matter what they want to talk about. And then you just lay in, you can lay into all of that. There's a number of things that they can do.
Oh, dude, that's what I mean. Remember when The Rock first became champion back in 99? Was it 99 or 98? 98. Survivor Series, as a matter of fact.
Deadly Games. They did
Deadly Games,
They
exactly.
had corporate mankind, and it was all a ruse. The Rock was in on it the entire time.
But keep in mind, this is when The Rock was like, starting to rise. Like the crowd was behind him. Everyone was behind him, dude. And I remember this clearly. Everyone was chanting Rocky, Rocky, Rocky. And then come the main event, he becomes champion, but not just any champion, but your corporate champion. And then the hate he got for turning on the people that quick. You know what I mean? And because people just wanted to cheer him. Everyone was like, oh, you piece of shit. You know what I mean? That's money.
And I think that, that becomes so much more intense and effectful when it's against Cena.
Oh, that would be brilliant.
I think Punk would be a good choice as well.
For corporate?
No. To be that person that gets put down, that's involved with the Cody turn.
Oh, absolutely. But even a corporate Punk would be good if he actually teamed up with Triple H and he's like, screw you all, you know what I mean? But it's not going to happen.
Nah, that to me that would fall as flat as when Austin joined McMahon.
Oh, yeah, but he didn't have the personality to actually pull that off.
Punk is the voice of the voiceless. Right now, he's still way over with the. You continue to ride that wave.
Oh, no,
right
for
now
sure.
with Punk. WrestleMania wise, I'm liking. It's one of the fun things that fans do. I haven't done it in a couple of years, but to sit down and draw out your how you would put your card together. I think what's nice about
that's a good idea.
What I think's nice about this year, there's so many directions that they can go. I'm in favor of. I would like to see CM Punk and Logan Paul.
That'd be interesting.
I think they could go out there. I think Punk could put together a magnificent match with him, lay something out. Paul go out there and continue to shine. Punk carry that thing, but I'm looking at it from the aspect of the hype. I think the build, those guys and their promos would be great, and just the crossover PR. Have those guys out there advertising and marketing all things WWE would be absolute gold.
If they play their cards right, this year's WrestleMania could be very huge in terms of like matchup wise, dude. From top to bottom, if they play their cards right. Will they play their cards right? I doubt it, though. You know what I mean? I would rather see a Cody Cena sort of main event, though. But Cena has to be Cody has to be total heel.
I think what you'll do is you'll get a turn inside of that match there. I think that's going to be one of the big defining moments there at WrestleMania. I don't think we see Rock in a match, but we will see involvement from him.
He could be the one that screws Cena, right? And then Cody goes along with it, gets the win. Because they are planting seeds. I mean, keep in mind, Cody and Kevin Owens back at Saturday Night's main event, the first one of this year. Did he not cheat to win, to hold on to his belt? He did. But
that's been one of those things. Well, even going back, when he take on AJ Styles in that last man standing match, the theme there was, does Cody have what it takes to do anything and everything to retain and stay atop of the WWE mountain?
And how bad does he want to keep that championship? Is he willing to get down and dirty, you know what I mean, to hold on to that championship? And that's what they should sort of be doing. They should paint that story, and I feel like they're teasing it, but they just haven't gone all out with it, if you know what I mean.
No pun
all in,
intended.
should I say.
All in,
yeah,
all in, all out, all in, all out.
Do the hokey pokey.
No, because you go all in, go all out when you like it raw, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to the transition to send it home here. And you can catch Jimmy T Tuesday mornings on I Like It Raw with Big Ray. Don't forget to check out Jimmy T tomorrow. A little under 24 hours away for you and the vet when you kind of shift through the wreckage.
The wreckage, as we say. Yeah, we talk all things AEW, as a matter of fact. And it will be myself and the vet, and we could have a special guest, according to the vet. I'm not going to say who it is because I'm not 100% sure yet. This is coming from the vet side. But we'll see what happens. I don't know yet, but tune in to find out. 11 a.m. Eastern, right here at the same channel in Hamid Media Group. Obviously on the YouTube. So don't miss out on that. And like you said, obviously, I Like a Raw every Tuesday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern with myself and Big Ray Hernandez, where we talk all things Monday Night Raw. And that's about it. And of course, this show that we do every week right here on the Smack Attack. Not the Soul Attack, by the way. We don't attack souls. I'm just saying we only Smack Attack. And
that's your fix, Jimmy, oi. Throughout the week here at the Hamid Media Group. For me, you can catch me again, my new home here on the weekends. I guess, Jimmy, we could let everybody know that for the next month, we'll be shifting to a Sunday record as I have Saturday duties at the racetrack here in Cincinnati, Edgewater Sports Park, as we're getting ready to go for our 2025, 72 years. Cincinnati's second longest running pro sports franchise, only second to the Cincinnati Reds. I'm looking forward to get back to the drag racing action on the play-by-play there from the Summit Racing Equipment Tower. So we'll be coming at you on Sundays for the Smack Attacks. You're going to have a Super Sunday double dose of Jimmy T.
Absolutely.
With the wreckage and the Smack Attack talking pro wrestling. You can also catch me on Monday afternoons with Ben Hameen on the Monday Locker Room. Other programming you don't want to miss out on Monday nights. We got the Impact Attack, the OG show with Let's Go Brandon and Yvette. Of course, they're talking all things TNA wrestling. Wednesdays, you got Next Level with Big Ray and Yvette. They're covering that gold brand. NXT for you. You got the Friday Locker Room with MSG and Hameen. And, of course, Let's Go Brandon with all those wonderful watch-alongs throughout the week. HMG After Dark. Getting it done. And all sorts of specials probably going to be coming at you here during the road to WrestleMania.
And also look out for the Elimination Chamber review right after the show. I know I'll be on it. I don't know who you can join me if you want, Rick, if you're available. But as of next week, we're changing our time slots, right? Because it'll be March.
Yes. Yeah. So we'll be going with Smack Attack, and I'm sure we'll be talking Chamber next week here on the show as well.
Well, yeah, absolutely. 100% we will be talking Chamber. As a matter of fact, maybe we should actually do the review for Chamber actually on that day where we talk SmackDown, but we'll also talk about the Chamber. But look out for the Chamber review anyway. Either way, we will be talking about it. And, of course, also check out the latest Friday Locker Room where I'll,
Jimmy T was a special guest.
I filled in for Bin Hamin because, he's up in Vegas right now, where we talk all the news in actual, proper context, not just a quick run by. It's all about the news on the Friday Locker Room, of course.
Yeah, Jimmy T providing some of that. There was expertise. You don't even realize Hameen's not there. That's how good Jimmy T is. Yeah.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate that, Rick. But Hameen's got his way. I mean, Ben is Ben, man. He's on a different level, of course. So look out for him when he comes back. I'm sure he'll be back by next week or this week with you, as a matter of fact, on the Monday Locker Room. And also check out the Wednesday Locker Room on the Podbean at HameenMediaGroup.podbean.com, where you can check all our affiliate shows and most importantly, channelattitude.com, where for $5, not only do you get the realest but the best talk in all of professional wrestling at channelattitude.com. And that's a wrap, I think, Rick. Unless there's anything else you wanted to plug?
I'm good to go, man. I got to get ready for the race report, so let's get us out of here.
Do the scoot, and we're out. Tune in to Rick's show with the racing report, still on the same channel, as a matter of fact. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace out, much love, and thank you to everyone that's joined us. And we're out. See yous. There goes every sound chopping everything.
Yeah.